This is a review of the ECOFLOW River 3 solar power station. In the box you get the power station itself, a DC charging cable, so you can charge from cigarette lighter, and you get the charging cable. There's no power brick needed. The charger is integrated inside the unit. You also get a quick start guide, warranty information, safety information, an ad for solar, and information relative to the app which is available for this unit. So let's take a look at this. The unit itself is constructed extremely well. ECOFLOW does a great job with their products. Heavy plastic. It's got a handle built in. One thing to note is that if you could see that, when you grab this, though, the weight does not distribute nicely. So it's not comfortable to carry, as small as it is. But anyway, so you can see that. So I'm not happy with that, but it's not a big deal. So it's a small thing, so it's very lightweight. On this side you have a flap, and there you have where you would plug in your cord to charge from AC and your solar port. But again, for the solar port you need an XT60 cable. They do not supply that, and I'm very disappointed. For me, that's a big negative, that they don't supply that. So they give you the cigarette lighter port. I'd rather they didn't include this and include the solar. I'll never use this. So anyway, that's a personal thing there, but that is a big no-no for me, that they didn't include that. Another thing is the quick start guide is terrible. It really doesn't tell you anything. It tells you gives you some basic information, but it doesn't tell you anything about the ports, how much, what they charge, what wattage is. Any of that information is completely lacking in this guide. In fact, nothing they give you gives you any of that information. So that's another negative for me. What I did is I wound up printing out a manual from their website. I went to the ECOFLOW website and printed out a manual. But I mean, they don't tell you any of this in this information. So if you're new to this, you wouldn't know to even do that. So the manual has the information you need in it. So another negative. So these are it might seem simple, but they're big negatives if you never did any of this before. If you haven't used products like this before, not having this manual is a big negative. Or at a minimum, they should tell you where to go get it, which they do not. So anyway, that's a gripe for me. Sorry for the quick rant, but it's important. So let's take a look at, I didn't show you, there's fans. So, let's start with this. First off, you have USB-A, USB-A, so you have two of them. And combined, you can charge 24 watts total. So between the two of these, you can charge up to 24 watts at the same time. So if it's only one, you got 24. If not, it would distribute accordingly based on what you're charging up. And when you power on, you would hold the button. Okay, that powers on the screen. You can see we're at 100%. I hope you can see that. And then you have charging watts. I'm sorry, these are the output watts down below. And then on top are the input watts. Over here, it tells you how many hours you should be able to get out of whatever you're charging. So when you plug something in, it gives you the how much power is going out. It gives you the battery level as it changes, and then it tells you based on what's going out, how many watts are going out. It gives you an approximate time frame on how long you can run that. So that's good. That screen is very nice. Over here is the DC. This is where you would plug in the cigarette lighter. It's a nice, it seals very well. So that's your port for that. In order to use that, you would have to have that on. You just click it off. You don't want to have anything on that you're not using, because it will use battery power just to keep those running, even with nothing plugged in. This side is your AC on or off. So once that light's on, plug something in, you can charge. Here you've got 300 watts total combined. So again, if you're only charging one thing, you got up to 300 watts. If you have more than one plugged in at the same time, you're limited to 300 watts total. I didn't mention the USB-C is 100 watts maximum coming out of here. So that's pretty good. Let me shut these off so not to use power. And there you go. All right, one thing, here's a negative for me. These two plugs are too close. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to use this. We went through recently, we went through Hurricane Milton, and we have fiber optic internet, which is fantastic. The fiber optic cable is run underground and very resilient, so it's not dependent on cables running from a pole, which can come down. So I wanted to use this to run my internet and the main router. But because of the way the plugs are constructed on those two devices, and given how close these two outlets are, I could not do it because they wouldn't fit properly. So that was very disappointing. So these, in my opinion, need to be farther apart. That's a big negative. I'm sure, relatively sure, that I'd be able to use a power strip or an extension cord, you know, to bypass that problem. But to overcome that problem, but I don't know that I wanted to do that, especially during a hurricane. You know, who's looking to do that? So anyway, I used something else. But what I did use this for was running a table lamp, and it ran very effectively. I also used it to run, had my main TV, 55-inch screen, with the Roku box and a internet router node, which is in a different room from the router setup, and running those three devices with this, it ran for hours. Now again, this was during a hurricane. I didn't watch as far as how long that took. All I know is it worked when I needed it to work, and then I actually fell asleep, and I woke up and it was at 0. So anyway, it does work. So it also has UPS function. So UPS function is where you would plug a device into this. You plug a device into this, and then you plug this with the power cord into the wall. Now, when the power goes out, it has a very quick reaction time where it'll switch over to UPS. And it will do that, and at that point, because what happens, let me back up a second. So what happens is we plug this into the wall, plug a device into this. This will show 0 and 0 on here as far as what's going in, what's coming out, because with this getting power from the wall, from the grid, it runs through this and bypasses the system. So the device you have plugged in is actually running from the grid. Now, once the power is interrupted, then the UPS kicks in, and now the output starts, and your device is getting wattage power from this box. And you will see that on the screen. Then, and it does it very quickly. Now, I didn't test this myself, but I did see other reviews, and it actually worked very quickly. I can't, again, I can't state 100% because I didn't do it myself. I did see it working, so I just want that to be known. But it seemed to work very well within the UPS mode. So that is a big thing. You know, UPS is great. Just keep in mind, though, that it has to be for smaller devices. It's perfect for that internet setup that I stated, except for that I can't do it because of the plugs. So maybe yours are different. That I don't know. So let me, another big thing is the app. There's an app available for this. I don't like running these with apps. Sometimes they're helpful. However, I have an issue with the possible data safety. So in this particular case, I looked at the app, and based on what I saw as far as the information that the app shares, in the data safety section of the app information on the Google Play Store, I didn't like it at all. I didn't like what they share, and I didn't really want to use the app. And then also I looked at the critical reviews, and a lot of the reviews that I saw, the critical ones, I didn't like what I saw. So given those two factors, I decided not to use the app at all. So I did not test the app. So anyway, let me just run a quick recap on this. The unit runs very quietly. You can't even hear it running. Fast charge. It's got a small size, lightweight, has great UPS function. I ran this to 0 twice, and I charge it from 0 with solar with no problem at all. There is no manual, which is a big negative. I suggest you either take a look online for the manual or print it out like I did. Comes in at 17, 18 pages, but you go back to back, it comes out to 9 pages. So I would suggest you do that, because another big thing, I didn't mention it, is this tells you about storing, which is critical with these things. Storage and maintenance. So it says for long-term storage of the product, they want you to follow these steps, or they recommend that every 3 months, if you're not using the product, every 3 months they suggest discharging the product to 0% and then charging the product to 60% battery level. Now, if you don't have this manual, you have no clue. So again, that's really a big negative. There's no, you have to pick up or purchase your own solar to XT60 charging cable. And that's pretty much it. It has a total of 245 watt hours. I don't know if I mentioned that before. So anyway, I might as well mention this too. The solar will, you have to use, as far as your panels, voltage-wise, 11 to 30 volts and 8 amps, 110 watt maximum. Now, the critical item in that is that you don't want to go over the voltage. So 30 volts max, you want to stay under that, which on a unit this size with 110 watt max, staying under 30 volts should be no problem at all. But you can over panel it if you stay within the 30 volts. So anyway, pretty good unit. But given those negatives, I'm not, I'm middle of the road on this one. But it did work for me during the hurricane. So it wouldn't have been, if I didn't have other things, it wouldn't have worked just by itself because it is a small unit. But it did do, it worked good for me, and I liked having it. So anyway, thanks for viewing. I know I rambled a little bit, ranted a couple times, but anyway, it is what it is. So anyway, you have a great day, and thanks for viewing.